What is the
President.
pleasure of the Honorable Villanueva?
Yes, Mr. President, just to put into the records, Mr. President, that while the minority leader made a motion a while ago, we were able to consult with different stakeholders, members of the Senate, and the minority leader agreed that this representation would amend his motion per se, Mr. President. And so with that, Mr. President, at this juncture, may I move to refer the verified complaint for impeachment against Vice President Sara Duterte to the Committee on Rules. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. The motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, in view of the referral of the verified complaint, may I respectfully move that the Senate President take his oath as presiding officer. So move, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable De La Rosa?
Mr. President, just for a clarification, is it correct to assume that though the Senate President takes his oath today, and as you said, the members will be taking their respective oath tomorrow, but the impeachment court is not yet convened, and it is going to be convened on Wednesday, June 11. Am I correct, Mr. President?
What
For the
does
record, just for the record.
What does the movement say?
Yes, Mr. President, the distinguished gentleman from Davao and Bohol is correct, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr.
That is
President.
the intention of the movement, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable
Just to, Mr. President,
Pimentel?
just to complete the thought of
You may
the,
proceed, sir.
just to complete the thought of the latest motion of Senator Villanueva, it should, as the presiding officer of the impeachment court.
Impeachment.
Sige. And then, with the convening, Mr. President, I think tomorrow, when we take our oath, we are convened as the impeachment court. So I don't know, that's my technical understanding, Mr. President, because the presiding officer will now call the impeachment court to session, and then the members will now take their oath as senator judges. So that is already convening the court as far as this representation is concerned.
What does
Yes,
the
Mr.
move?
President, if I may, Mr. President, as the
Senator Villanueva is
as the
recognized. You
movement
may
of the
proceed, sir.
motion, Mr. President, I stand firm with the motion that I am proposing right now, as this came through out of the consultations made by this representation to a lot of members of the Senate, Mr. President, just to put that on record.
But that-
Just to clarify, this is akin or similar, Honorable Villanueva, to, for example, those who are newly elected to serve a term beginning January 30, 2025, who won in the last elections, where they can take their oath today,
Yes.
next week, or even for the past several days. But still, the term of their office will commence or begin on June 30. Would that be a good analogy?
Yes, Mr. President, you are correct, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Marcos? Or nakatayo? What is the pleasure of the Honorable Revilla, rather Padilla, and then De La Rosa?
Ginoong Pangulo, gusto ko lamang pong malinawan sa salitang Tagalog na ang hudyat po ng ating mahal na kapatid na Senator Joel Villanueva na kayo po ay mag-oath. Hindi po ibig sabihin na tayo po ay naguhubad na ngayon ng sombrero ng pagiging legislative body, kung di tayo po ay hindi pa rin korte. Gusto ko lamang pong linawin.
Tama po, Ginoong Pangulo, ang binigkas ng ating kapatid Senator Robin Hood Padilla na hindi po natin hinuhubad ang ating sombrero bilang legislative body ng Senado at hindi po tayo nagko-convene as an impeachment court.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you,
Yun
Mr.
lamang po, Ginoong.
Honorable De La Rosa and then the Honorable Tolentino.
Yeah, I just would like to be clarified, Mr. President. If it follows that after all the members of this body have taken their oath, it would automatically trigger the convening of the impeachment court. Therefore, I move that we make our oath on the 11th, Mr. President, as originally scheduled.
Mr. President, if I may, Mr. President.
Senator Villanueva.
To just clarify, Mr. President, the motion is for the Senate President at this time. The motion at hand is that the Senate President would take his oath as the presiding officer of the impeachment court. The next motion that we agreed upon a while ago is for the members of the Senate, the senator judges, to take their oaths, Mr. President. But just the same, Mr. President, let me emphasize again, whether today or tomorrow's oath taking, this representation was made to believe that we are not yet convening as a court.
Okay, Mr. President.
And we are to convene the impeachment court on Wednesday, June 11.
I agree, Mr. President.
That is the
Senator Tolentino.
Just to further clarify, Mr. President, the impending oath of the Senate President is, if I'm not mistaken, and the movement can clarify this, pursuant to Resolution 39, Section 3 of our rules, which states, and I quote the pertinent provision, the President of the Senate shall preside in all other cases of impeachment, and for that purpose be placed under the prescribed oath or affirmation by any person authorized by law to administer an oath. The same, Mr. President, is pursuant to the constitutional command under Article 11, Section 3, paragraph 6, that when sitting for that purpose, referring to the impeachment, the senators shall be on oath or affirmation. Is that the correct clarification, interpretation, if I may ask the movement, Mr. President?
What does the movement say?
Yung po bang panunumpa ngayon ng ating Senate President ay sang-ayon sa Resolution number 39 patungkol sa impeachment proceedings at sang-ayon din sa Article 11, Section 3 patungkol po sa panunumpa ng Senate President at lahat ng senador kung magbubukas ang isang impeachment trial court. Yun lamang po.
yes, Mr. President. The answer is in the affirmative, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We can
Senator Pimentel is recognized.
since we are debating on the nature of the third motion, actually, we're still on the second motion. Kaya nga. So, maybe if we can wait for the third motion and then revive this topic, Mr. President.
I have no problem with that, Mr. President. And so I moved for the previous motion, Mr. President. The previous motion to the Senate President.
And
to take his
Senator
oath.
Coco, you have no objection as to the clarification made by Senator De La Rosa earlier with respect to the second motion. Is that correct?
Because it is more appropriate for the third motion which has not
Yes.
been made, Mr. President. So, mas nalilito tayo when we anticipate
So
the
there
third
is
motion.
no reservation as to the second motion of the gentleman from Bulacan for the chair to take his oath as presiding officer. Is
of
that the
the
understanding of the
presiding
chair?
officer of the impeachment court. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Senator De La Rosa.
My clarification, Mr. President, was not yet forthrightly answered, Mr. President. Can can the presiding officer give us a clear explanation as to whether or not we are convened right after all the members of this chamber have taken their oath? Because according to what we have discussed a while ago, that the convening of the court, of the impeachment court, shall proceed only on 11 or Wednesday.
That's,
So
no, we are still on the second motion, Honorable De La Rosa.
that is why, Mr. President, that's a precondition. Because
Ah, okay.
otherwise, that's my question is a precondition to your taking
Ah,
of
understood.
oath. Because if you say that it will trigger, then I will object to your to that motion.
Understood. Senator Cayetano, what
Sir
is your
President.
pleasure?
If it will help,
You may proceed, sir, if it will help.
in the same manner, Mr. President, that you said that parang po yung mga nanalo nung May election, June 30 pa naman sila mag-hold office pero pwede na sila mag-oath. If the Supreme Court was in recess now, but the President appointed 3, 4, 5, 6 justices, they can take their oath. At kahit 15 yan na sabay-sabay ng oath, it will not mean that they are convening the Supreme Court for another session. They will still be in recess. It will be either the law, which sets a date, or in our case, here in plenary, we will set the date kung kailan i-convene. So if it will help, so what will happen is you will take your oath tonight. Then because we referred it to the Committee on Rules, then following precedents, which is part of our rules, then tomorrow, we will take our oath as a group. But yung pagko-convene, in accordance then with our agreement and your notice, will be on Wednesday. If we all accept that, our taking of our oath tomorrow will not trigger the convention of the convening of the trial court. Of course, if we all agree today that after we take our oath, it will convene, then it will convene. But if we all agree we will just be taking our oath today, it's no different than new appointees of the Supreme Court or the CA or the RTC taking their oath, then waiting till the recess is over before they convene. No, if we all accept that, Mr. President.
Senator Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, mga kasama, ang ginawa natin, tinilad-tilad natin yung original motion ng minority leader. Dahil sa primary issue na ni-raise ng gentleman from Camarines Norte and BARM na dapat tulad ng naging practice nung nakaraang mga impeachment processes, bagamat wala sa rules, i-refer muna sa Committee on Rules. Mapagbigay po ang minority. Nakipag-usap po kami sa inyong lahat sa pamamagitan ng ating pamunuan. At pumayag po kami, pumasok po kami dun sa kasunduan na sige, i-refer na muna sa Committee on Rules. Ipasa ibang araw yung panunumpa nating lahat before the presiding officer, pero siya ay manunumpa bilang presiding officer ngayong gabi. Natural na epekto na kapag ngayong araw manumpa ang presiding officer, bukas ay tayong lahat naman manunumpa bilang senator judges, natural na epekto yun na we have constituted an impeachment court. Hindi yun po ang unang issue na ni-raise na prejudicial issue. Yun lamang na bakit hindi idadaan din sa Committee on Rules. Nagbigay na po ang minority dyan. Tinilad-tilad na po natin yung original motion na hindi muna mag-constitute as impeachment court ngayong araw, i-refer nga sa Committee on Rules gaya ng hiniling ng good gentleman from Camarines Norte and BARM, at ngayong gabi, yung presiding officer lamang manunumpa. Bukas, tayong lahat ng iba ay manunumpa. At yung unang aktual na araw ng trabaho ng trial court ay sa Miyerkules pa. So please, maging resonable naman po tayo at tumupad naman po sa mga kasunduan nung tayo ay ilang oras na nagbubuo ng kompromiso na handa na nating tanggapin dito. Tumupad na kami dun sa prejudicial concern na idaan muna sa Committee on Rules at iisa lang ang manunumpa ngayong gabi. Bukas tayong lahat ng iba. There is no harm na nag-convene na tayo bilang korte bukas dahil wala pang gagawin ang korte bilang korte sa Miyerkules pa po. So I am appealing to the plenary, i-uphold naman natin yung pinaghirapan nating compromise nitong nakaraang 2 araw na tumupad dun sa unang issue na ni-raise ng good gentleman from Camarines Norte at BARM. Please lamang po mga kasama, palihog mga kauban. Salamat, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator Ontiveros. Senator De La Rosa is recognized.
Actually, Mr. President, the majority is kind enough para pagbigyan yung pakiusap ng minority. Na originally naka-schedule na tayo on May 11, yung ating lahat-lahat na gagawin. June 11, lahat natin gagawin. So, what's the difference kung yung aming pakiusap ay pagbigyan rin naman?
Mr. President, just a clarification.
With the permission of Senator De La Rosa, Senator Cayetano is recognized.
Just to clarify and I beg the indulgence of the minority. Everyone's in good faith kasi ang napag-usapan natin off the record, refer na natin tonight, mag-oath na si SP as presiding officer of the impeachment court. Tomorrow tayong mag-oath and then ituloy yung Wednesday. Yun yung agreement natin. We were silent on convening. So good faith everyone because ang pagkaintindihan naming marami na convening is a formal act. Hindi lang yung pag-oath na triggers that, di ba? Ang pagkaintindi pala ng minority is that so I'm just saying if we cannot agree, we cannot agree, but there's no bad faith in both sides. So please accept
Sige.
my explanation. Then we can agree or agree to disagree.
So, Mr. President,
Senator Pimentel is recognized.
if we look at practice, kasi nga kaya kami nag-compromise na dun sa referral to the Committee on Rules out of practice, not out of the letter of our rules. If we remember correctly, for those of us present in the last impeachment proceeding held in the Senate, nag-oath po ang members ng Senado when the court was called to session, Mr. President. So it was a court session. Nag-oath tayo as members of the senator judges. So if we want practice, to follow practice, let us convene the court and take our oath. And then yun, siguro ang good faith agreement na lang natin, let that be the only agenda of the court on Tuesday. So you can ask our staff to check if what I'm saying is correct, that when we took our oath as senator judges, it was the court, the Senate as sitting as an impeachment court convened already, Mr. President. So yun po yun. So ganoon na lang, in good faith tayo, and then that's our we make it of record now that that's the only agenda of the court, and then Wednesday na po yung actual work as stated by the Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I think
Senator Cayetano.
the misunderstanding comes from when to convene because Senator Bato and whoever else have the same thinking was right to assume that Wednesday magko-convene. So he still has till tomorrow to decide whether he will give a privilege speech or make any motion depending on his gathering of his thoughts tonight. So kung mag-agree na tomorrow na magko-convene, that's why isa sa hiningi ni Senator Bato is before mag-oath, he can take the floor. At sabi naman namin, well, anyone can take the floor based on personal and collective privilege, no? So dun po ngayon may konting stalemate, no? Because Senator Bato doesn't want to be I mean, he doesn't want to be put in a position that he voted that tomorrow magko-convene right after mag-oath, pero may privilege, may speech pa siya before that. Am I correct, Senator Bato? Yes. Baka impeachment na maging Bato pa. Kaya magsasalita muna si Senator Bato bago doon. So that's the problem in agreeing with the second and the third motion as of now.
So as not to belabor the point, with the permission of Senator Pimentel, the movement has already stated in the affirmative that the idea behind this motion, both for this representation, when this representation takes his oath, and when the other members of the chamber take their oath, is that we are not yet convening the impeachment court. So that was the answer of Senator Villanueva to the query, the movement, to the query of Senator Bato. That is the status. As stated by Senator Cayetano, there seems to have been a misunderstanding that was clarified that indeed, in good faith, there was a misunderstanding with respect to the effects of that motion. But the status is that is the intent of the movement. Unless there are
We cannot obsess over practice in the first motion and then abandon the practice on the third motion, Mr. President. So
No, I'm just
that's my
saying that
point. So,
Senator
practice ang ginamit to accommodate the first motion and yet practice hindi observed sa third motion, which is when we take our oath as senator judges, the court is convened.
Unfortunately,
the
Mr.
movement
President,
doesn't.
if I may, Mr. President, unfortunately, we have yet to make any third motion, Mr. President.
Yes, precisely.
That's the thing, Mr.
Pero-
President.
I think
So
the-
and so,
Senator De La Rosa has connected his vote on the second motion to
Yes.
the upcoming anticipated third motion, Mr. President.
and when this representation was asked, I already responded, Mr. President, that upon consultation with members of this August chamber, that was the agreement, Mr. President.
Again, to settle the issue, to abbreviate the proceedings as well, given the response of the Honorable Villanueva to the query of Senator Bato, and given the reservations of the Honorable Pimentel, do I take that as an objection to his second, or do you want to reserve the objection to the third motion? Because he already has answered. Can we proceed with the second motion without objection?
No, because we are being trapped, Mr. President. The minority is being trapped if we will not object to the third motion, which is the oath taking of the senators as senator judges. Gusto nga namin convening of the court tonight, Mr. President. This is the product of an attempt to compromise the pending motion, Mr. President. So, with that, Mr. President, can we request for a minute suspension?
Session is suspended.
Mr. President,
The Honorable Villanueva is recognized.
Mr. President, may I reiterate my previous motion, Mr. President? Mr. President, I move that the Senate Secretary, Mr. President, I move that the Senate President will now take his oath as the presiding officer of the impeachment proceedings, Mr. President. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is, the motion is approved. Chair would like to call on the Senate Secretary to ascend the rostrum to administer the oath.
Sir, dito kay sir.
Sir, please raise your right hand and repeat after.
Wala mic, sir.
Okay na, sir. Importante kayo na matinig.
I, Francis Cheese G. Escudero,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that in all things appertaining to
that in all things appertaining to
the trial of the impeachment of
the trial of the impeachment of
Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte,
Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte,
now pending,
I
I will do impartial justice
will do impartial justice
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the Philippines.
and laws of the Philippines.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. President.
Senator Villanueva.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I respectfully move that the senator judges take their oath at 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, June 10, 2025. And again, reiterate, Mr. President, what this representation made mention a while ago, that after the oath taking of the senator judges, the court will be constituted but not convened yet, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. So
Duly
moved.
noted and entered into the records. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none. Motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, a while ago during the parliamentary discussions prior to your oath-taking ceremony, Mr. President, this representation noticed and heard during several instances the word agreements, whether that referred to something or not. Mr. President, just for our transcript purposes and for the Journal of the Senate, I move to strike out the word agreements in our transcripts and substitute the same with the phrase constitutional provisions or constitutional requirements in order to reflect that the subject matter discussed a while ago is governed not by consensual agreements, but by binding legal obligations emanating from the Constitution itself. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved without prejudice to amendments further being made to the journal before we approve them. We approve it rather.
Pwede na? Pwede na? Can I make a manifestation?
Mr. President, 1 minute suspension.
Session is suspended.
Mr. President, the Honorable Joel Villanueva is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized.
Senator Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. Mr. President, before our short manifestation, may I just be allowed, Mr. President, to show a 1-minute video presentation, Mr. President, because today we are celebrating the victory of our young boys aged under 16 years old who were champions of Southeast Asia Basketball League, Mr. President. Undefeated basketball team.
As many times this tournament has been staged, the Philippines takes the gold medal in the under-16 Siaba qualifiers.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Bilang may akda ng Adopted Resolution number 260, tayo po ay lubos na natutuwa at nagagalak na makasama po natin ngayong gabing ito ang koponan na nag-uwi ng makasaysayang pang-anim na sunod na gintong medalya ng Pilipinas sa Siaba Under-16 Cup, ang Gilas Pilipinas Youth. Kasama po nila, Ginoong Pangulo, ang ating kaibigan at PBA legends na sina Head Coach L.A. Tenorio at Assistant Coaches Richard Del Rosario at Gabe Norwood. Alam niyo po, Ginoong Pangulo, espesyal para sa representasyong ito ang paglahok ng Pilipinas sa torneo ng Siaba. Dahil tayo po, Ginoong Pangulo, ay naging miyembro ng national team na lumaban sa kauna-unahan na Siaba Championship noong 1994 sa Johor, Malaysia sa ilalim po ni Coach Virgil Villavicencio. Kaya naman po, Ginoong Pangulo, buong puso nating binabati at binibigyang pugay ang napakagagaling na mga manlalaro ng Batang Gilas na sinungkit ang gintong medalya sa Siaba Under-16 Cup. Sila po ay sina Jeremiah Antolin Jr., Nixon Cabanyero na mula po sa aking alma mater UST, Prince Carino, Everrain Cruz, Carl Gabriel de los Reyes, ang MVP ng torneo, Mr. President, Justin Halyare, Mel Jello Lumage, Chris Paul Miranda, kasama po niya ang kanyang tatay si Denok Miranda na ating kaibigan. Kasama din po, Ginoong Pangulo, si Luisito Joel Jolo Pascual, Travis Gabriel Pascual, John Raven Restificar, Ethan David Tanchi, Samuel Nomso Esomchi, Clark Dwayne Cobuntin, at Brian Orca Jr. Ginoong Pangulo, Mr. President, these players gave their all and showcased their unparalleled skill and teamwork, sweeping, Mr. President, sweeping all the games and dominating the gold medal match against Indonesia with a commanding 70-40 victory, which we were humbled to have the opportunity to watch live. From their impenetrable defense that turned stops into easy transition points, to their well-executed half-court plays, we believe, Mr. President, that we have a very promising young national team on our hands. We can't wait for more greatness to unfold under the leadership of Coach L.A. Tenorio. Their win also secured our spot in the 2025 FIBA Under-16 Asia Cup, which will take place in Mongolia next month. Muli, Ginoong Pangulo, sa bawat manlalaro ng Batang Gilas, saludo po kami sa inyo. We and the millions of basketball enthusiasts across the world will continue to support you and cheer for you as you proudly play for the Philippines in your next competition. Muli, mabuhay ang Batang Gilas, mabuhay ang mga atletang Pilipino. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, at pagpalain tayong lahat ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
The Senate would like to congratulate the members of the Philippine Men's National Under-17 basketball team, Gilas Pilipinas. Of course, the chair would also like to congratulate the coach, who is one of the superstars of the Philippine Basketball Association, and of course, who hails from the Ateneo. When you're an Atenean, you must be good. Yes, Majority
Yes,
Leader,
Mr.
no offense
President,
meant because you're a last light, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I was more hold to be in a Jesuit institution longer, Mr. President, for the record. Next to deliver his manifestation of support for the Gilas Youth is Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo. I move that he be recognized.
Senator Bongo is recognized.
Mr. President, sports muna tayo. As chairman of the Committee on Sports and the Committee on Youth, as one of the authors of a similar resolution, I would like to congratulate the Gilas Pilipinas Youth National Basketball Team for winning the gold in the FIBA Under-16 Asia Cup, Siaba, or the Southeast Asia Basketball Association qualifiers last May 30, 2025. Mr. President, the team dominated the tournament with an undefeated record, demonstrating excellence and superior skills reflecting the Philippines' deep basketball talent and passion for the sport. At congratulations rin po sa ating mga idol na si Coach L.A. Tenorio, Gabe Norwood, Richard Del Rosario at sa lahat po ng members po ng team na nabanggit po kanina, no, ang ating MVP from Batangas, kababayan natin. At siyempre sa aking teammate sa Senate Sentinels na si Senator Joel Villanueva, ang ating former member po ng national team. The outstanding performance of the Gilas Pilipinas youth team has secured the country's qualification for the prestigious FIBA Under-16 Asia Cup in Mongolia in July, further cementing the Philippines' status as a basketball powerhouse in the Southeast Asian region. Mr. President, their victory serves as an inspiration to millions of Filipino youth, encouraging them to pursue their passions and excel not only in sports but also in life. At naniniwala po tayo na isang paraan po ang sports na ilayo po ang ating mga kabataan sa masasamang bisyo. Get into sports, stay away from drugs to keep us healthy and fit. Makakaasa po kayo sa patuloy nating suporta sa atletang Pilipino mula sa grassroots hanggang sa international competitions. Thank you, Mr. President, at congratulations po sa Gilas Pilipinas Under-16.
Thank you, Senator Bongo. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, next to make a manifestation of support to deliver his message is Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa. I move that he be recognized.
Senator Bato de la Rosa is recognized.
Mr. President, Senator de la Rosa prefers that his manifestation be inserted in the record.
The message of Senator De La Rosa is hereby inserted into the records.
Mr. President, I move for a minute suspension so that our Gilas youth can have a picture taking.
Session suspended. May we request the members of Gilas Pilipinas to ascend to the rostrum, please? Resume.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2893 and House Bill number 6452. These are the bills on the Virology Institute of the Philippines Act. With that, I move to recognize Senator Pia Cayetano, the chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as chairperson of the Senate contingent to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the proposed measure establishing the Virology Institute of the Philippines, I am pleased to report to the Senate the consolidated version of this landmark bill. The Bicameral Conference Committee used the Senate version as the base bill, incorporating the following key amendments. We included the word vaccine in both the title and relevant provisions of this bill. We also included another function that will allow the VIP to explore different modes of financing to support the development of new industries, products, and services. We clarified and strengthened provisions on the protection of intellectual property. We improved the provisions on the Virology Research Fund in accordance with the proposal of the Department of Finance and the Bureau of Treasury. Lastly, we created a joint congressional oversight committee to help monitor the implementation of the law. It must be emphasized that despite the amendments in the BICAM, the original intention of the Senate is preserved. There remains a clear delineation of functions between the RITM and the VIP. The ratification of the VIP is a critical step in securing the health and safety of our people, not just today, but for generations to come. The establishment of the VIP embodies a One Health approach, which recognizes the interconnection among humans, animals, plants, and the environment. This integrated framework empowers our country to respond swiftly and effectively to viral threats, strengthening our ability to develop diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines in times of public health emergencies and beyond. Mr. President, I have a few more important notes to include, but I respectfully request that the rest of my speech be included in inserted into the record, Mr. President. Thank you.
The manifestation of Senator Pia Cayetano is hereby noted and inserted into the records. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we approve and ratify the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2893 and House Bill number 6452, and let the text of the joint explanation be deemed spread to the records of this chamber. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. The Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2893 and House Bill number 6452 is hereby approved and ratified. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2699 on Konektadong Pinoy Act and House Bill number 6 on Open Access in Data Transmission Act. With that, I move to recognize Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, the chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. President.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is recognized.
Mr. President, first and foremost, I'd like to give praise and thanksgiving to the Lord God for these two bicameral conference reports on Konektadong Pinoy and e-governance, because they are game changers that will not only bring government, business, closer to the people, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, including OFWs, provide a platform for the government to serve each and every one. But the Konektadong Pinoy will also make sure changer. But to save time, Mr. President, may I make this same manifestation for both Senate Bill number 2699 and House Bill number 6, which is an act establishing a comprehensive inclusive data transmission and connectivity framework for the Philippines, and also for Senate Bill number 2781 and House Bill 7327, an act institutionalizing the transition of the government to e-governance, strengthening the ICT Academy and appropriate funds thereof. I'll submit to the Secretariat a more exhaustive summary and explanation, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we approve and ratify the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions, Senate Bill number 2699 and House Bill number 6, and let the text of the joint explanation be deemed spread to the records of this chair. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. The Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2699 and House Bill number 6 is hereby approved and ratified. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2781 and House Bill number 7327. These are the bills on the E-Governance Act. With that, I move to recognize once again Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, the chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. President.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is recognized.
Mr. President, same manifestation.
The,
Thank you, Majority Leader.
The manifestation of Senator Cayetano is hereby noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we approve and ratify the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2781 and the House Bill number 7327, and let the text of the joint explanation be deemed spread to the records of this chamber. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motions approved. The Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2781 and House Bill number 7327 is hereby approved and ratified. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2974 and House Bill number 9726. These are the bills on the expanded Philippine Science High School System Act. With that, I move to recognize Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, the chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. President.
Senator Subir is recognized.
Thank you very much, Senate President Pro Temp and our Majority Floor Leader. Mr. President, it's my honor to submit for ratification to the body the bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2974 and House Bill number 9726, otherwise known as the Expanded Philippine Science High School Systems Act. This is our measure strengthening the Philippine Science High School system to enable it to serve more deserving young students across the country. Would you believe it, Mr. President, that for many years, during the establishment of the Philippine Science High School, we only had one science high school per region. Sa laki po ng populasyon natin, ay umabot na po tayo sa mga higit 110 million Filipinos, we definitely need to expand the Philippine Science High School system across the country. So, in line of this, we had a very productive pre-BICAM and BICAM meetings. We were able to reconcile the Senate and House versions of the bill. The BICAM panel adopted the Senate version as the working draft. The most significant matter that what we resolved was the number of campuses. As of now, under this bill, which hopefully will be signed by the President, we'll be creating at least 2 Philippine Science High School campuses per region, Mr. President. And for example, sa amin po, sa Northern Mindanao, yung campus ng Philippine Science High School ay nasa Baloy, Lanao del Sur. Napakalayo sa Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Occidental, Camiguin, and Bukidnon. So now we will be able to put another one closer to these areas that I mentioned, Mr. President. And same will go to many other regions. For example, in Region 7, it is in Cebu. And the people of Bohol are also clamoring for one more science high school in the province of Bohol, being that it's the second largest population in Region 7 in terms of population according to province, Your Honor, Mr. President. So the additional campuses, to assure the body, will still need to meet the Philippine Science High School Board's criteria. Furthermore, in the reconciled bill, we'll be able to receive, the PSHS will be able to receive support from the Adopt a School program for its improvement of its learning facilities and research-related activities. The campuses will also facilitate partnerships with the DepEd, Department of Education, Science High Schools, and Special Science Elementary and High School programs. I'd like to thank the members of the subcommittee that helped me in the passage of this measure. This is one step towards our mission to bring high-quality education to every Filipino across the country. I hope that we can all get behind this measure to make our STEM education more accessible to more deserving young students. But I would like to make special thanks, to give special thanks to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, the chairperson of the Committee on Science and Technology, for granting our request to create this subcommittee and designating us as chair. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And of course, he went to me earlier and asked if he could be made co-sponsor and co-author of the measure, Mr. President, for the record. I would like to also thank our BICAM panel headed by my co-chair, Congressman Carlito Marquez, together with Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, Senator Nancy Binay, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Win Gatchalian, Congresswoman Maria Vanessa Aumentado, Congresswoman Divina Grace Yu, Congressman Gabriel Bordado, Congressman Ino D., Congressman Jazel Yu, and Congressman Joey Salceda. With that, Mr. President, I'd like to move for the joint explanatory note of the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2974 and House Bill number 9726 to be read in toto to the records, that the conference committee report be ratified as well by the body. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang Senado, mabuhay ang ating bansang minamahal.
Thank you, Senator Subiri. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that we approve and ratify the conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2974 and House Bill number 9726, and let the text of the joint explanation be deemed spread to the records of this chamber. So move, Mr. President.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. The conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2974 and House Bill number 9726 is hereby approved and ratified.
And Mr. President, with the permission of the Majority Leader, Mr. President,
Yes, Senator
may we
Subiri.
make also Senator Lauren Legarda our co-sponsor and co-author as well.
The manifestation of
Thank
Senator Subiri is hereby noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 9489. This is the bill on the creation of one RTC in the Second Judicial Region, Alicia Isabela. With that, I move to recognize our Minority Leader, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, Chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the conference committee report. So move, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader is recognized.
Mr. President, if I may move to insert the joint explanation of the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 9489 into our records. But let me just inform the body of why we needed to hold the BICAM. I think there was a mistake in the location of the regional trial court that we were creating. So the BICAM report corrects the mistake, Mr. President. Pero siguro just a reminder, this was kind of unnecessary or unusual mistake. So if the Secretariat can take some steps or measures to make sure that this will not happen in some future bills, Mr. President. So with that, Mr. President, I move for the ratification of the Bicameral Conference Committee report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I second the motion of our Minority Leader that we approve and ratify the conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 9489.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved. The conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 9489 is hereby approved and ratified.
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2898 and House Bill number 10755. These are the bills of the amendments to the Investors Lease Act. With that, I move to recognize once again Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, the chairperson of the Senate panel, to give the highlights of the conference committee report. So moved, Mr. President.
Senator, Minority Leader is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move that the joint explanation of the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2898 and House Bill number 10755 be inserted into the records of the Senate upon its ratification. So, I move for its ratification, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Pimentel, Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, I second the motion of the Minority Leader.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. The conference committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2898 and House Bill number 10755 is hereby approved and ratified. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes of House Bill number 10535, the bill on the amendments to the NIRC Code in relation to the denatured alcohol. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. Ito ba? Denatured ba yung sinabi niya? Sabay mo lang. Denatured? Isa na lang naman to. The following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes of House Bill number 10535, and they are Senator Win Gatchalian as chairperson, Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Nancy Binay, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel, the third on the part of the minority. So designated. Majority Leader.
Wait lang. Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 3000, the Bill on the Career Progression System for Public School Teachers and School Leaders, and House Bill number 10270, the Bill on Career Progression System for Public School Teachers. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, the following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 3000 and House Bill number 10270, and they are the following: Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as chairperson, Senator Jingo, this representation, Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., and Senator Coco Pimentel on the part of the minority. So designated. Majority Leader. Meron pa? Meron pa?
For this one. Okay.
Approved na siya eh. Hindi ko lang na-explain kanina kasi pumasok na siya.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2816, the bill on the setting the term of office of barangay officials and members, and House Bill number 11287 on the same title, Mr. President. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, nasa si Amy. Just a minute suspension. Can you repeat your previous motion, Majority
Mr.
Leader?
President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2816 and House Bill number 11287. These are the setting the term of office of barangay officials and members of the Sangguniang Kabataan. So move, Mr. President.
Thank you. Hearing no objection, the following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2816 and House Bill number 11287, and they are the following: Senator Amy Marcos as chairperson, Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Cynthia Villar, Senator Mark Villar, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Juan Miguel Subiri, Senator Jingo Ejercito Estrada, and Senator Coco Pimentel on the part of the minority. So designated. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, likewise, Senator Win Gatchalian would like his manifestation on the two bills that were passed on third reading, namely Senate Bill number 2868 under Committee Report number 342 and House Bill number 10535, Committee Report number 581 be inserted into the records.
The manifestation of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is hereby noted and inserted into the records. Eleven pa tayo.
Mr. President, likewise, again, Senator Win Gatchalian would like his manifestation on the approval of Senate Bill number 3,000 and under Committee Report number 537 be inserted into the record.
All right, the manifestation again of Senator Gatchalian is hereby noted and inserted into the records. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of Senate Conference, the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2965, the Bill on Free Funeral Service Act, and House Bill number 102. So moved, Mr. President.
An objection? Hearing no objection, the following members are hereby designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2965 and House Bill number 102. And they are the following: Senator Amy Marcos as chairperson, Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Cynthia Villar, Senator Ronald De La Rosa, Senator Coco Pimentel on the part of the minority. So designated. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, before adjourn, the Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Risa Dibar, is seeking the floor.
Senator De La Rosa is recognized. Senator Ontiveros is recognized. I'm sorry.
Salamat, Mr. President. I would just like to deliver my manifestation on the third reading passage of the Anti-Pogo Law. Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, it is with great pleasure that I congratulate Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian on the passage of this important legislation. This piece of legislation partners the investigation the Committee on Women conducted on the Pogo operations and the human trafficking and criminal activities embedded within these operations. The findings of that investigation were also accepted by this plenary last week. I thank the good chairperson of the Committee on Ways and Means for accepting the amendments I proposed to his bill, which are also outcomes of key learnings from the Alice Guo investigation. However, the work continues. Just days ago, our team went to Bamban, Tarlac, to conduct another site visit to the house of Huang Ziyang, the same alleged triad leader with suspected connections to Guo Huaping. Makukulit talaga ang mga staff ko, but perhaps for good reason, because we found new evidence, one of them being multiple paraphernalia belonging to Nine Dynasty, a company repeatedly flagged during our hearings. Why does this matter? There, Mr. President. This matters because Li Duan Wang, whose application for Philippine citizenship was recently vetoed by the President, is also connected to Nine Dynasty. She Zhejiang, a self-confessed spy now in jail in Thailand, who named Alice Guo as a foreign intelligence agent in an Al Jazeera interview, is also connected to Nine Dynasty. At ang Nine Dynasty lang naman ang pinagdaanan ng ransom ng kinidnap at pinaslang na si Anson Ke. My staff also found paraphernalia belonging to White Horse. Ano naman itong White Horse? This was the company implicated in the attempted smuggling out of the country of large bags of money intercepted by our brave law enforcement officers in Cebu. These are not random names and companies. These are individuals and entities connected to one another and to a larger, coordinated criminal network operating within our borders. We are seeing the outlines of something deeply concerning, a web of criminal elements that includes scam syndicates, shell companies, foreign actors, and compromised government officials, local or national, seeking to influence our systems. Speaking of compromised officials, sa loob ng villa ni Huang Ziyang, nakita pa namin ito. Another document linking him to Mayor Dong Kalugay, who denied under oath knowing him. We must be clear-eyed and united in dismantling this threat. Dahil sa bill na ito, mas mahigpit na ang mga patakaran sa pagrehistro ng mga korporasyon. Dahil sa bill na ito, mas malaki na ang mga parusa sa mga ganid na opisyales ng gobyerno na nakikipagsabuatan sa mga pogo boss. Dahil sa bill na ito, hindi na basta-basta makakatakas sa layover ang mga masasamang loob na pinapadeport natin. Dahil sa bill na ito, ang mga nakuha na mga properties na galing sa krimen na pogo-related ay maaari nang gamitin ng Estado ng mas mabilis para tulungan ang mga biktima. Dahil sa bill na ito, wala na, at least on paper, ang bangungot ng pogo. Congratulations once more to the Chair at maraming salamat, dear colleagues. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, Senator Villanueva would like to insert in the records his explanation of vote for the following bills. Senate Bill number 2868, Senate Bill number 2821, Senate Bill number 2982, Senate Bill number 2899, Senate Bill number 2903, Senate Bill number 2999, Senate Bill number 2613, Senate Bill number 3000, House Bill number 555, House Bill number 10885, House Bill number 11162, House Bill number 11163, House Bill number 10080, House Bill number 10405, House Bill number 10622, House Bill number 9314, House Bill number 9642, House Bill number 9601, House Bill number 9602, House Bill number 11038, House Bill number 11185, House Bill number 11167, House Bill number 11351, House Bill number 11299, House Bill number 11300, House Bill number 11301, and House Bill number 11302.
The explanation of votes of Senator Joel Villanueva regarding the aforementioned bills mentioned by the Majority Floor Leader is hereby noted and inserted into the records.
Yes, before adjourn, Mr. President, as the Deputy Minority Leader is again seeking the floor, I move that she be recognized.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized once more. Oops, careful.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Just a brief manifestation, Mr. President. Sa totoo lang po, it was my original disposition to divide the House on the original motion on impeachment of the minority leader. But sharing in Senator Alan Cayetano's declarations on the good faith on the part of each and every member of this body, I acceded to the actions reached tonight. As a member of the minority, I hold our Senate to our commitment to faithfully uphold the Constitution in both its letter and spirit, and for the members of the body to take our oaths as senator judges tomorrow and in the succeeding days, and for the articles of impeachment to be presented on Wednesday before the impeachment court. Nothing less is expected of us by the Filipino people. Marami pong salamat, Mr.
Thank you very much,
President.
Senator Risa, for your manifestation. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, June 10, 2025.
Is there any objection? There being none, session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, June 10, 2025.